Guys, we have a makeshift tripod right now.
Oh, this is high tech for
This
it.
got a bobble around the vlog thing.
I think I've put the wrong settings on.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Are we starting it like that or not?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know.
What's our like? We need an intro. Hi guys, welcome back to Zone and Fit. You got lip balm, my lips are really dry. That's lip balm. Guys, I've just asked for lip balm and she handed me that.
It's a natural, it's from Tropics, it's a natural Tammany balm, so it's good for everything. It literally says...
I think I got one of these as well.
It literally says it's an all-in-one skin saviour.
Wow.
So that's my lip balm for the winter.
It kind of smells like grass.
Yeah, it does. Because it's natural, I reckon they would probably...
It does feel nice and soft.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But anyway, you're joining us for a gym session today. We never normally do gym sessions on the channel, so this is a bit different for us.
We're actually taking you to the gym rather than at home today, so we're going to do a glutes and hammies workout.
We actually normally do this all the time.
Yeah.
On our page, we post a lot for like home workouts for people that don't have a gym membership, but we do generally go to the gym.
Yeah. I actually do quite a lot of running as well.
If you've never heard that before, Zoe does a lot of running.
And I talk about it a lot.
So if you don't know, she's a runner. But
we do train weights in the gym as well. So we're going to do a glute session. I thought it'd be nice to kind of like show you how we structure it.
Yeah, because I feel like, especially as we go into the new year, a lot of people, and I didn't know for ages how to structure a weight session and like how to even start off with that. There's so many little things that you don't take into account when you're first starting out.
Yeah, and I really think like online and stuff, you see so many examples of all these glute exercises, but how do you know what order to put them in?
Absolutely.
How do you know
and that actually does matter a lot. Like the way you order your exercises does matter a lot, because the compound lifts, which is what we're going to be doing first, we'll usually do around 2 of those. So that can be like hip thrusts and RDLs. They take the most energy out of your body.
Because compound lifts, you're using more than one muscle group. So say like an RDL or a hip thrust, you're actually using multiple muscles to lift the weight. Whereas if you're doing a glute kickback, you're actually only really recruiting your glutes.
And it's important to do your isolation movements, which are the glute kickbacks, because that will just add shape and everything. It gets the little muscles that you probably won't be able to hit as hard on your compound lifts. Yeah. But that's why it's important to do compound lifts before. And you probably would have heard, well, everyone's probably heard us speak about progressive overload, and that's how you're going to grow your muscles.
Absolutely. Progressive overload is the golden...
It's the key. It's
the golden ticket. The golden charm.
But without further ado, what have we got in the water bottle today?
Well, actually, we were putting creatine in it earlier, but I took a sip of it and I think we'd put too many scoops in. It was just like sand.
Grain.
Yeah, so now it's just water.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've got a bit of... I've gotten into the habit recently of drinking Clearway in my workout
I did that
bottle.
in the gym yesterday for the first time in ages.
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, during your workout.
Yeah, because the worst thing is, like, when I get home, I just forget to take my protein shake. So that's a massive tip. If you've got, like, protein, especially
it's not
Clearway,
heavy. Like, Clearway's not heavy. It's just like drinking juice while you're training.
Yeah, absolutely. And we always go for the cherry lemonade, is it?
Well, actually, yesterday I had the baked apple.
Oh yeah, Christmas.
Women's Best. Yeah, Women's Best have released a like Christmas Clearway protein baked apple flavour.
Lovely.
It's really good. It's really, really good. Use code SONM.
Okay, with further ado, shall we get it started?
Without further ado,
should we get started?
I think so. I think we just go for it. You said, okay, with further ado, let's get started.
Merry Christmas, let's go.
Merry Christmas.
It's freezing. It's like minus 500 right now.
It's a very chilly day. I'm not enjoying the winter at all.
Let's get straight into the workout. So when we got into the gym, we got straight on the treadmill and did an incline walk. We were freezing because it was so cold outside on this day. So I was literally still in my fleece at this point. So we had to do something to warm up a little bit before we got started. So once we'd done probably about 6 minutes on the treadmill, we got straight into the hip thrusts. Emily has done a little example here of how you can get your position perfect for a hip thrust. So if you do find you struggle with it a little bit, then just watch this bit carefully. So you can see that she's created a perfect right angle with her legs. So her feet are, well, her heels are directly underneath her knee. And then she's coming down and then she's pushing up through her hips to squeeze her glutes at the top. She's also got her chin tucked. So you shouldn't let your head fall back when you're doing a hip thrust. Or you always keep your gaze forward, your chin tucked. And then we struggled to get the bench into the Smith machine because they are so heavy. But we kind of had to fiddle about getting the position right a little bit just to make sure that the bar was directly over our hips. And then we got started with our hip thrusts. We did 4 sets of hip thrusts of about 8 to 10 reps. Our first set was a warm-up set, so it was a little bit lighter and a little bit easier than the other 3 sets. We normally do hip thrusts near the start of our session because they're a compound lift, and they basically take it out of you more than other exercises you might find because they're recruiting multiple muscle groups at the same time. So yeah, we normally put them near the start of our workout so that we can kind of really push ourselves on it and make the most of the fact that we're doing a heavy exercise and pushing our glutes as much as we can. We went to max 12 reps on our hip thrust set. So if you find that you're getting like 15, 16, 17 reps out of it and you're still not feeling tired, then definitely up that weight. That's kind of how you want to gauge and know if you can push up the weight a little bit. So on this set, I remember I knew I could go a little bit heavier, and then we did one more set here where you should be feeling like this by the end of your set. And yeah, I think we got 8 reps out of the last set maybe. It was super tiring. They're a killer, but such a good exercise for pushing those glutes and really making the most of progressive overload. So definitely don't miss out your hip thrusts. I also just wanted to note as well that we are doing them on the Smith machine, and this isn't because barbell hip thrusts are bad or machine hip thrusts are bad, but we just find that they're super easy to set up and you can really get a good focus because it kind of forces your hips to only go one way and really squeeze at the top. So it just means that it takes out some of the faff of kind of getting a heavy barbell up without wobbling around. But it's still really good for going heavy and really overloading your glutes. So that's just a little side note if you're wondering why we were using a Smith machine. Okay, moving on to our RDLs, I wanted to start off by giving you another little form tip. So if you pop a bench behind your knees, make sure the bench is exactly kind of the height of the back of your knee or just below. You can use that to make sure that your knees don't come forward. So as you push your hips back, you don't want your knees to come forward like that as you're doing your rep because that's more like a squat. So make sure that as you're doing your reps, if you do struggle to get your form with an RDL, stand right in front of the bench like I'm doing here, and then allow your hips to go backwards as your body comes down to bring the dumbbells down. And then that will ensure you put the pressure onto your glutes and your hamstrings, so basically the back of your body rather than your quads. So take the reps nice and slow. You don't need to go too low with your dumbbells. So often people find that they try and reach their feet with the dumbbells, but then that makes you put a little bit of extra pressure on your lower back rather than on your glutes. So you want to be pushing through your heels, sticking your hips backwards and not allowing your knees to come forward. And then if you feel confident enough, you can do it without the bench behind you. So we did 3 sets of our RDLs and we did 10 reps on each set. We did push the weight up, I believe, on the second set just to make sure that we were really pushing ourselves and feeling the burn. And another trick you can do if you do struggle with your RDLs but you don't want to use a bench is kind of just imagine that you're pushing a drawer close behind you with your bum. So you want your hips to go backwards as you're doing the rep rather than bringing your knees forward. So keep pushing through your reps and squeezing at the top. We are using a 15 kg dumbbell here, and then we went up to a 17.5 on our next set. This is going to be different for everyone. You just want to make sure that by, say, the 10th or 12th rep, you're really feeling like you can't do many more, and that's going to make sure that you're close to failure. And once we finished our RDL, we went on to the dreaded Bulgarian split squats. We've done a bit of a form check again today. So we did glute focus, but this is an example of a quad focus split squat. So as you can see, Emily's standing really upright. Her foot is relatively close to the bench, so it's a little bit more narrow. And as she goes down, her body is going pretty directly down to the floor. And then if you want to do a glute focus Bulgarian split squats like we're doing today, then you want to go a little bit wider. You can see she's tilted her hips forward and her body's going over her front heel rather than going directly down to the center. So you're really kind of pushing that weight over your front heel. By pushing through your front heel, it should really help you feel the tension in your glutes. Then once you're comfortable with your form, go ahead and grab your dumbbells to add a little bit of extra tension on your reps. It's up to you if you want to hold 1 heavier dumbbell or 2. I find it distributes the weight in my weak grip a little bit better if I go for 2 dumbbells, and Emily's done the same here. So even when we're holding the weight, you want to take the reps really nice and slow. You can see we're not rushing them at all. Trying to get a really nice right angle at the knee. So as we come down, going down until your upper leg is kind of parallel with the floor and then pushing back up through your heel. I know I keep keep mentioning the heel, but with glute exercises, it's really important to make sure we're trying to push as much of the weight through our heel as we can. It's really easy sometimes if we're finding the exercise hard to go on to pushing through your toe rather than your heel, but this often just means that the weight doesn't get distributed, so it doesn't push through your glute as much as we'd want it to. So focus on getting all that weight through your front heel as much as you can. And another little note with this exercise is that your back foot is literally just for stabilization. So you don't want to be putting any of the pressure through that back foot. Often you'll find if you're feeling a strain in your back leg, or you're feeling it in your quad or your hip flexor in the back leg, it's because you're putting a little bit too much of your body weight through your back leg. Push all of that body weight onto your front heel rather than your back leg, and then that will really help feel it in the glute of your working leg. We went for 3 sets of 10 reps per leg on this exercise. You don't want to rush it, and you want to feel like by that 10th rep, you really can't get any more out. You want to be almost at failure, if not at failure, by the end of your set. Our 4th exercise in today's glute session is our cable glute kickback. Now, this is a great isolation exercise if you don't trap your finger in it. Grab yourself a pair of ankle straps for this one, and if you put one on each leg, it will help you save time because you can just connect it straight up. Form for this one can be a little bit tricky to grasp, so Emily's done another visual. One thing that people often do is overextend their lower back. This will just mean that you don't feel it in your glute as much and you overuse your lower back muscles. So instead, you want to keep your upper body really still. So basically from your hips upward, you want to imagine you've got like a rod all the way up your spine, and it's only your hips that can do the moving to squeeze your glutes. So going all the way out, squeeze at the top, and come down nice and slow to the beginning. You'll see that my foot isn't touching the ground as it goes through each one, and you also want to be far enough away from the machine that it doesn't kind of hit on the machine and then you'll lose tension after every rep. Another thing which is a good trick to kind of make sure you're feeling it in your glutes is tilt your foot out slightly as you push out. This should really help you target your glute muscles and also really think about where you're squeezing and what muscle you're working on each rep. I've swapped legs here so you can see that my foot is pointed slightly out, so I'm not going directly back, I'm actually coming out really slightly on every rep. I'm not rushing it, I'm taking a moment to squeeze at the top of every rep and then slowly coming back down to the start position. I'm also using both hands to hold onto the machine because I find that my body can stay extra still if I do that. Otherwise, I kind of end up twisting when I'm finding it hard, and then I end up feeling it in my back or not feeling it in the right place. So we did 10 reps on each leg for 3 sets again on this exercise. I'm just helping Emily to attach her up for her set here. I find if you do too many and you end up being fatigued, then you can end up using other muscles by accident. So you really have to make sure you're precise with this one, squeezing your glute in the right place and really focusing on mind to muscle connection. One thing you might find you struggle with is feeling it too much in the other leg. Now, because you're really planting that other leg, it is normal to feel a little bit of tension in the glute of that leg. You don't want to be squatting too much. If you feel like you're feeling a lot of pain in your quad, it might mean that your knee is coming too far forward of the leg that isn't working. And this could be why you're feeling too much tension. So you do want to make sure you're really focusing on squeezing and using the glute of your other leg. But it's normal to feel a little bit of a strain on that leg as you are holding it really still and planting it in order to push through that other glute. Now, in the rest, I did have to spend a good minute itching Emily's back because she had a big scratch that she just could not itch. Anyway, we're moving on to our reverse hyperextensions now. So this is the final exercise that we did in our glute day. I did have to move the big punching bag because it was really ruining our aesthetic. So bear with us for a second. Now, this is one of my favourite exercises ever for targeting my glutes, but it is easy to get it slightly wrong. So if you see here, you want to start off by making sure that the height is just below your hips. So you want to be able to get a good bend in your hips without it stopping, because otherwise that can make you round your back rather than using your glutes. And then go nice and slow with it. You want to look through to your toes the whole time. So you see how Emily's looking down through to her feet. She's not bringing her head up. Sometimes if you kind of try and bring your head up first, that just means that you use your lower back rather than using your glutes. So keep a slight round in your upper back. And then this is an example of what you want to avoid doing. You see how everything's kind of following her head here. So she's clearly using her back muscles to bring herself back up. And that means that her glutes aren't really engaged and she's definitely not squeezing when she comes to the top. We held on to a weight to do this exercise just to add a bit more tension, but if you are a beginner or you're first learning this exercise, definitely go for body weight first. We find a plate is the easiest for us to hold because you can kind of hug it to your chest. So we're back into position. You see how her upper back is still rounded. A really good cue for this exercise, which Emily actually told me about, is on the way down, imagine you're doing an RDL, so keep that tension on your muscles, and then on the way up, imagine you're doing a hip thrust, so you're going to do a big squeeze as you come up to the top. Take the movement nice and slow, especially on the downward part of the movement. You don't want to rush it. And we actually went for a drop set on this one. So we did 10 reps on our weighted hyperextensions, and then we went for 10 reps after the weight had been dropped. This really burns because we find by the time we get to the body weight bit, your glutes already have so much tension in them that you just feel like you don't know how to get through. But you can do it, push through. And I always get Emily to pass me the weight on this one because I hate having to try and get onto the machine whilst holding it. And that is everything that we had time for in today's glute session. We did a bit of a cool down at the end, stretched for a few minutes and went home. Hey guys, I thought I'd come on and finish the vlog on my own because Emily had to rush off at the end and we didn't really get a chance to film like cooling down and stretching or anything. She had to go and get food for her nan, so she had important things to do, so I thought I'd finish it. But once we did our hyperextensions, we did some stretching and just cooled down, did a few glute stretches, and then we left. But I really hope you found that glute workout helpful. It's kind of like our key exercise and movements. Of course it's going to vary, and it's really important to make sure, I know we mentioned in the intro that progressive overload is super important, and I kind of just wanted to go over that a little bit because I feel like it's a word that's like thrown around all the time and everyone always says, oh, gotta use progressive overload, or you're only going to make progress if you use progressive overload. And it's basically the idea of making sure that you're always still pushing yourself to your max, because over time your muscles are going to get stronger and stronger. So for example, say you're doing a RDL, the first time you do it, your muscles are going to be a lot weaker. So if you carry on doing the 5 kg weight that you did at the very start, for example, for the next maybe like 12 weeks, by the time you get to week 12, that 5 kg weight is probably going to be super easy, and the chances are that you're going to get to rep 10, rep 12, and you're going to feel like you've still actually got another 10 reps in you. And that's when you need to push, because if you get to that point and you never increase, then your muscles are never going to continue getting stronger and stronger because they're not being pushed past their comfort zone, if that makes sense. I feel like that was just loads of words in one, but yeah, just make sure that if you're trying to grow your glutes particularly, because this was a glute workout today, you're pushing yourself to your max. So that means if you find that you used to do 10 kg on RDL and actually you've come into the gym after a few weeks and you find you get to rep 10 on 10 kg and you could definitely do another few reps, then go up, try the next weight. And a good thing I like to do as well is you don't have to do that max weight for all of your sets. So say you do 4 sets. On the 3rd set, you could go up to 12 kg, and that could be the first time you've ever done 12 kg. And then if you've got to your max then do a set afterwards that's slightly lighter again if you need to, because you'll still find that pushes you because you've worked your muscle so hard already for 3 sets ahead of it. So yeah, just push yourself where you can. Don't let yourself be stuck in a place of, oh, I can't really be bothered to go up anymore, because I feel like that's so easy to do, but push yourself where you can, and that's when you're really going to see the progress and really going to see the growth. So I hope that makes sense and I hope that's helpful. If you have any more questions about progressive overload or anything that we mentioned when we were doing the actual workout, then you can always drop it in the comments below. We'd love to help you. But I really hope you enjoyed this workout, guys. Let me know how you found watching a like gym training video over watching obviously the side-by-side ones, because we love doing both. I think the side-by-side ones I feel like can be really helpful, because no matter what your situation, you can go on and watch the video and either decide that you're going to take the advanced or beginner option or the home or gym option. But I feel like sometimes just doing a full gym workout can be really helpful for knowing exactly what you might want to do on a certain day. So yeah, let us know what you found more helpful, and we'll definitely try and do more of these because I really enjoyed doing this one. So thank you so much for watching if you got this far, and I'm sure we'll be back soon with another video.